Chapter 9 Yanjiao University of Science and Technology. 8 days ago, the Earth has indeed been pulled into a grey curtain, but no one is sure whether the monster has really arrived. In case, is it a national prank? Only China, such a shameful figure, actually established a monster research institute at an astonishing speed. They really can't figure it out. This institute not only spreads panic and makes people afraid. What else does it do? China Yanjing Monster Research Institute. As the live broadcast continues, the monster hotline has been overwhelmed. Every minute, there are calls coming in from hundreds. For this, Yang Mo has specially added a large number of operators to handle the reporting hotline from netizens across the country. Hello? Is this the Monster Research Institute? I just watched the live broadcast and I suspect there is something wrong with my roommate. Last night I found a piece of meat stuck in his teeth, and he lied to me and said it was with my daughter. My friend is eating hot pot. Just kidding. How can my girlfriend go out to eat hot pot with him? Hello, sir, please wait a minute, I'll record it here. Hello? Hello, I want to report it. I suspect that my colleague is a monster in disguise. I borrowed him 3,000 yuan the day before yesterday, and he has been delaying in paying it back. He was obviously not such a person before. Hello, sir, please don't slander monsters. Monsters only eat people and never lend money. Hello? Police uncle, come here, help. I'm in the company building in the toilet cubicle. I am in the toilet now and heard a man's voice. Could it be a monster? This lady, the operators are patient and responsible and listen carefully to every call, collect clues provided by netizens, all recorded. Not long after, thousands of them have been summarized. However, most of these clues are random speculations by netizens. It has nothing to do with monsters. Dean, a college student, reported that he saw a monster with a sheep's head and ate his roommate. He is now hiding in the cabinet in the dormitory. Suddenly, an operator put down the phone and hurried to Yang Mo. Submitted a key clue, place, location. Yang Mo's pupils narrowed slightly and he asked in a deep voice, just in Yanjing, the Polytechnic University in the suburbs. Demon hunting team, gather and prepare to go. Yang Mo made a prompt decision and issued the order. After approval from superiors, elite personnel transferred from the military have arrived at the institute one after another. 300 people in total. He was arranged to join the demon hunting team, with Zhang Yongguang as the captain. But Zhang Yongguang looked embarrassed and hesitated. The demon hunting team has just been established and has not been trained yet. There is no but. Yang Mo interrupted him coldly. There is no doubt, combat is the best running in training. Yes. Dean. Zhang Yongguang was stunned for a moment, react quickly. A military salute, turn around, leave. The 300 people under his command were counted and gathered in front of Yang Mo demon hunting team. 300 people were supposed to be there, but there were actually 300 people. 300 people held their heads high and their eyes as sharp as eagles, each of them. They all come from various military regions and are kings of arms, proficient in various combat skills. This mission is extremely dangerous. Yang Mo glanced at everyone and said in a deep voice, in addition, during the execution process, I will start a full live broadcast. Those who are afraid of death and shame can withdraw now. The words have not yet finished. 300 people stared at him with red faces and swollen eyes. As if, to them, this is a huge insult. From the moment of enlistment, they have long disregarded life and death. Protect your home and country. It is their lifelong belief. Die in battle. It is their highest honor and destination. We are not afraid of death. 300 people said in unison, their voices extremely loud, responded to Yang Mo with an angry roar. It's like a roaring mountain and a tsunami. Very good. Yang Mo nodded with satisfaction. No more words, let's go. Yanjiao, Polytechnic University. The guard looked confused at the sudden arrival of Yang Mo and others who were armed and loaded with ammunition. He was so frightened that he almost called the police on the spot. Urgent notice. Monster Research Institute, now temporarily take over your school. Zhang Yongguang stepped forward immediately, showing his ID card and X. He led the demon hunting team and quickly rushed into the school gate. Go straight to the student dormitory building. Zhao Ziyan was responsible for the entire live broadcast, synchronizing this scene to the live broadcast room. In an instant, the live broadcast room was blowing up again. What's going on? Why did you suddenly come to my school? What is the number of this demon hunting group? Hiss. It seems that we have found traces of monsters. Is this demon hunting team an organization specifically responsible for hunting monsters? This equipment is so luxurious, it should be. Is it a real gun? Netizens were shocked, high energy throughout, stare at the screen intently. I saw. Under the leadership of Zhang Yangguang, the demon hunting team quickly locked onto a student dormitory, include all students in it. They all shouted out, standing in the open space in front of the dormitory, there are thousands of people. These students were all confused and looked at Zhang Yangguang and others who were armed with light ammunition. I didn't know what happened for a while. Who called the police? Yang Mo stepped forward first and asked loudly. I reported it. I saw the monster eat my roommate. A pale-faced college student stepped forward and looked around anxiously. Keep an eye on everyone around you. Be defensive, afraid that they would suddenly turn into monsters. You don't know who the monster is? Yang Mo frowned, instinctively feeling that something was a little tricky. A whole building of students, there are thousands of people, obviously the monster is disguised in it. Want to find out? The difficulty is not that great. Science fiction paradise must be put on the agenda. He sighed in his heart and muttered to himself, for science fiction heaven. It was before the destruction of China in the previous life. Gather the power of all China. The crisis response plan discussed has multiple functions, including suppressing monsters, sealing strange things, and upgrading civilization. Recognizing the identity of monsters is just one of the small functions, but now, he can only use the most primitive method to investigate the monsters. Everyone, check your identity. He waved his hand. A comprehensive investigation was launched on thousands of students in the open space. According to what the whistleblower said, he saw the monster eat his roommate 2 hours ago. Obviously, after the monster noticed the arrival of the demon hunting team, disguised his identity again, hidden among these students. 2 hours later, after rounds of cross-examination, the identities of the thousands of students present have been verified by the demon hunting team, but, Dean, everyone has been checked. Zhang Yangguang walked to Yang Mo and shook his head. No abnormalities were found on them. They should not be monsters disguised. This cross-examination, they screened strictly according to the monster code compiled by Yang Mo, and did not find that any of them had the characteristics of monsters in disguise. There is still one person who has not been checked. Yang Mo shook his head, his eyes shining. Chapter 10. We can't lose to monsters. I've checked it all. Zhang Yangguang was stunned for a moment and glanced at the crowd in the open space. 300 people from the demon hunting team surrounded everyone. Check one by one. Cross-examination. View physical characteristics. He can make sure absolutely no fish will slip through the net. No. Yang Mo shook his head and said quietly, Dormitor, you haven't checked yet. After that. He turned around and looked through the crowd to lock his eyes on a middle-aged man watching nearby. Huang Zilong, you are the administrator of this dormitory. Where have you been for the past 3 hours? The words have not yet finished. The expressions of Zhang Yangguang and others suddenly changed, and they unconsciously picked up the weapons in their hands, aiming at this middle-aged man with an unattractive appearance. You guys, did you make a mistake? The middle-aged man looked innocent and swallowed in confusion. Live broadcast room, the tens of millions of viewers were even more excited at this moment. Is he transformed into a monster? From top to bottom, how does he look like a monster? I squatted in the live broadcast room for 2 hours just to watch the monster, and the result give me a chance to do this? If he is a monster, I will jump from the 18th floor. The commentators were extremely excited. They all feel that Yang Mo is talking nonsense here to cope with this embarrassing farce, and this dormitory administrator is too ordinary, belongs to being thrown into the crowd. Just ignore everyone, the kind without any outstanding features. It doesn't look like a monster at all. Article 7 of the Monster Code, when the undead number 001 is disguised, the horns on his head cannot be completely covered. Yang Mo glanced at the barrage and did not panic. He looked busy at the dormitory administrator, pointing to the peaked cap on his head, the corner of his mouth turned up. Can you take off your hat? The dormitory administrator stared deeply at Yang Mo. A glint flashed in his eyes. Suddenly, killing intent is already brewing and spreading. Article 10 of the Monster Code. Every time a monster eats a human, the skin on its abdomen will turn red for 24 hours. Do you dare to take off your shirt? Yang Mo turned a deaf ear and said to himself. Article 14 of the Monster Code, monsters can be perfectly disguised, but their weight will not change. This is a scale. Facing the live broadcast camera that he talked freely, used the Monster Code to expose the dormitory administrator again and again. Public execution, that's enough. Finally, the dormitory administrator shouted loudly, interrupted him. I saw him. He violently tore open his shirt, revealing his blood-red abdomen, the original human body. It is also distorted at this moment. Just a few seconds, the transformation was completed and the original shape was revealed. A four-legged monster with a goat-horned face and a prostrate body stared at Yang Mo ferociously. Smiling ferociously, "You are so familiar with my clan. For a while, the sky is filled with murderous intent, like substance, be alert." Zhang Yangguang yelled hurriedly. He immediately stood in front of Yang Mo. "The cabinet has issued a death order. Yang Mo's safety will be China's top priority. Anyone can die, only Yang Mo can't even rub against him." Other students in the open space saw the monster transform with their own eyes and screamed in horror, looking pale. The scene was very chaotic. The demon hunting team performed the demon hunting mission. Yang Mo, however, was calm as usual and issued the battle order in a deep voice, "Yes." Zhang Yangguang glanced at Yang Mo and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Confronting the monster at such close range, he was very uneasy and extremely nervous, but the dean was extremely indifferent, not even raising his eyelids. "Demon hunting team, listen to my order. Tactic number 1, aim at the monster's horns and shoot." Zhang Yangguang took a deep breath. "Take the lead, fire first, try to snipe and kill the monster before it attacks." Tactics number 1. Yang Mo told him, aiming at the weakness of 001 Immortal, avoid its body defense and attack its horns first. After research, the ram's horn is the source of power for the undead. Roar, even my clan's weaknesses are known. I can't let you live. 001 Undead saw this. An angry roar broke out again. Smiling ferociously, he rushed towards Yang Mo desperately. The demon hunting team opened fire forcefully, suppressing the actions of Undead 001 with intensive firepower. Bullets.it hit the body of Undead 001, they were all blocked by the scales. No effective damage was caused. With this defense strength, you have eaten at least 5 people. Yang Mo stared at the monster. My heart felt cold, and my murderous intention was fierce. At the same time, live broadcast room, under the synchronization of HD camera capture, the battle in front of the dormitory building. It is clearly seen by tens of millions of netizens. The monster showed its true form and started a battle with the demon hunting team. All things. It all happened between lightning and flint, but it subverted everyone's inherent cognition and refreshed their worldview. Really, there is a monster? At this moment, no one doubted Yang Mo's words anymore. A monster really hiding in human society, lurking around them, feeding blood from their fellow humans. Even bullets can't do anything to them. Monster code, quickly memorize the monster code. The dean just used the monster code to identify monsters. From now on, who will wear a hat in front of me and fight like a wolf? This monster is so ferocious that I don't even have the courage to look at him. I really admire these people in the demon hunting team. I admire Dean Yang even more. When he interrogated the monster just now, the distance between the two of them was only 3 meters, right? The barrage surged crazily. They were all venting their shock and disbelief. For Yang Mo, they are sincerely admired. Recall the situation at that time. Be them instead. If you knew the identity of the monster in advance, you would definitely want to hide as far away as possible. But Yang Mo took the lead, standing 3 meters away from the monster. Such courage is not something ordinary people can have. We must win. Looking at the intense battle scenes on the screen, the netizens in the live broadcast room were filled with anxiety and worried. A demon hunting team of 300 people, powerful fire suppression. He actually fought a monster back and forth. Give them a deeper understanding of the power of monsters. Ordinary people, the only result of encountering a monster is to become food. Even Tyson. I'm afraid I won't survive either. If fear or afraid. Confused, various emotions permeate everyone's heart. Has the end of mankind arrived? Just at this time, the scene on the screen suddenly changed and shifted to Yang Mo, who was conducting the scene. I saw Yang Mo was alone, stand behind, continuously make tactical adjustments and correct the fighting methods of Zhang Yangguang and others. It was obviously a very ordinary scene, but it ignited a flame in everyone's hearts. A thing called security emerged in their hearts. We can't lose to monsters. I don't know who posted this barrage. The entire live broadcast room totally turned on. The barrage was overwhelming. It's all. We can't lose to monsters. The tens of millions of netizens in the live broadcast room have all become repeaters, repeating this sentence constantly. Chapter 11 Countries. Hurry up and copy China's homework. Yanjiao, Polytechnic University. In front of the dormitory building. Half an hour later, the intensive gunfire finally subsided. Report. Zhang Yangguang covered his injured right arm and walked up to Yang Mo. The demon hunting team successfully completed the mission. The target 001 Undead has completely lost its combat effectiveness. BR behind him, the extremely arrogant goat-horn monster with a human face that tried to kill Yang Mo had fallen into a pool of blood, although still brutal, but one of the horns on his head has been broken, the scales on his body were also penetrated several times by large-caliber bullets, completely lost combat effectiveness, but the situation of the demon hunting team is not optimistic either. Including him, more than 10 people were injured. 2 people were seriously injured. This is the result of Yang Mo guiding the tactics. Without Yang Mo's guidance, their casualties will only become more tragic. It can be said. In this battle, they did not lose, but they did not win either. Bring it back to the Institute. Yang Mo waved his hand, his mood also heavy. Demon hunting team, although they are all elites in the army, they lack training and are not familiar with the fighting methods of monsters, therefore. We must seize the time to train tactics. Monsters from the future. It will only get stronger, the time left for them is running out. Dean, the number of people in the live broadcast room, has exceeded 100 million. Zhao Ziyan, whose face was pale, stepped forward and suppressed the discomfort in her heart to report. Yang Mo frowned, looking deeply at his beautiful assistant. This operation in Zhao Ziyan has been following him, responsible for the simultaneous live broadcast. For the first time, I witnessed the ferocity of monsters and the brutality of the battle. He was still able to report work to him while standing. No wonder. In the previous life, when the Research Institute was attacked by monsters, she would resolutely die with the monsters, but in this life. No more. He will not let the monster have any chance to pose any threat to China. Live broadcast room. As the battle ends, netizens were finally relieved. The barrage covered the entire screen. Awesome! The Research Institute is so powerful. Dean Yang, I will be your die-hard fan from now on. What a tenacious monster! He withstood such a fierce fire attack. He didn't die on the spot. What's the name of the female anchor? Brothers, I really like this. Which one doesn't like it? After being stimulated by the truth about the monster, the people are tensed. I also relaxed a lot after this incident. The Monster Research Institute and Yang Mo's name are also known to the world. A complete blast. Monster code was even printed out by netizens. Recite the entire article. Many people imitate Yang Mo and use the method in monster code to identify monsters, although still full of fear of monsters. But whenever I think of Yang Mo, I think of the Monster Research Institute. They feel confident. They, not alone China, protecting them all the time, across the ocean. America, Department of Defense. Monsters can actually disguise themselves as humans? Johnson's pupils shrank and he looked at the live broadcast on the computer in shock. On the screen, the Chinese Monster Research Institute blocked a certain university. A monster disguised as a dormitory administrator was uncovered, with sharp means suppressed on the spot. Knock it down. The whole process is open and transparent, and the battle process is even more brutal and exciting. The monster is so powerful, it can actually withstand the siege of 300 heavily armed elite troops. No, I must report this to James quickly. He gritted his teeth and stood up suddenly. China, obviously, the monster disguise has been known for a long time and has been researched accordingly. Even the habits of monsters have been investigated clearly, but they in the United States, but they know nothing about monsters. Soon. He came outside the office of James, the head of the Ministry of National Defense. Come in. After pushing the door open, his face was full of anxiety and he couldn't wait to say, James, we were wrong, big mistake. He was about to talk about China, suddenly stunned. Unintentionally. I caught a glimpse of a complete copy of the monster code placed on the desk. He couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. So you also saw China's live broadcast? China is too far ahead of us. Especially Yang Mo from the Monster Research Institute. His vision was too forward. He established the institute decisively and achieved such great research results. It's a pity that such talents could not be born in the United States. We must quickly learn from them and convert the monster code. After watching the live broadcast, he was deeply aware of the problem. For Yang Mo, it even gave a very high evaluation. I want to convince James to popularize the monster code across the country. However, James waved his hand and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. A meaningful smile appeared. Johnson, close the door first. Johnson was stunned again, but he still listened to the other party's words and closed the office door. Ke just turned around, but I saw a scene I will never forget. I saw James' body twisted 270 degrees, and huge scales grew on his body, transformed into a monster that exuded a violent aura. The mouth is wide open, pounced towards him, tubing. The world's largest video platform. Huaxia's live video was uploaded and shared here by interested people, caused an uproar. No less than a magnitude 10. Earthquake. Netizens who originally scorned China's Monster Research Institute and the Monster Code were dumbfounded. Is it true that someone turned into a monster? No, is it a monster disguised as a human? What exactly is this monster? It can actually talk and speak human words. Does it still have the characteristics of a human being? Wisdom? My God, is the end of the world coming? Isn't there a monster hiding around me? In the face of hard facts, netizens from all over the world have realized that they were wrong. For a while, an atmosphere of fear has enveloped the people of all countries. China is not lying. Those monsters really came to ordinary people, perfect disguise, live and work with them. Maybe their parents, relatives, and lovers are monsters in disguise. The thought of this, they couldn't help but feel terrified, and they didn't even dare to leave the door casually. More and more people start its own country. China has established a Monster Research Institute and developed the Monster Code. What are you doing? I don't want to die, I'm still young, I really don't want to die. At Sakura, Baga, hurry up and find the monster. Why do you think so at this time? Mute. Monsters are good at disguise, feed on humans, cruel and brutal, full of unknowns. It has brought great fear to the people of all countries. The shadow of a snake with a bow and a cup of the wind roared. Both trees and grass are soldiers. A layer of haze shrouded over all countries. Chapter 12 Global Turmoil. Monster Research Institute. Lab. The dormitory administrator was tightly bound by alloy chains and locked to the experimental table. Standing beside him, it was Yang Mo and a group of scientific researchers wearing white coats. Finally, the second monster was captured. Yang Mo's eyes flashed, and his heart was filled with excitement. In the past life, China has gone through 12 rounds of civilization trials. Before destruction, some scientists have found a glimmer of hope in the trials of civilization. Every monster has incredible power, possess extraordinary abilities, seemingly irresistible, but, as long as the monster dies, some strange items will fall from their bodies. Carry out analytical research on these items, access to a variety of technologies beyond the current era. For example, immortal number 001. His power comes from the horns of the sheep. Once he dies, his horns will automatically fall off. It's just Jia. The monster on the experimental table struggled crazily and glanced at everyone with a sinister smile. Even if he is seriously injured, still vigorous, exuding bursts of violent aura, raising his throat, roaring like crazy, humble human beings. Don't think you can win. This trial has just begun. Destruction is your final destination. Everyone was the monster looks crazy. I was so frightened that I took a step back. Only Yang Mo, stand where you were, staring coldly at the monster. He said word by word, this time, it won't happen. Previous life, countless people in China have stepped forward and sacrificed countless people, just so that civilization can continue. Perhaps it was the unwilling obsession of all Chinese people that gave him a chance to be reborn. Let him. He can make arrangements in advance and have time to launch the ultimate plan of China in the previous life. The second round of monster research begins. Yang Mo took a deep breath and walked to the ferocious monster. First, pick up the scalpel, start the dissection with an expressionless face, let the monster roar and threaten, always remain motionless. Behind, seeing this scene, everyone's fear dissipated a lot. Damn it! I heard that you ate 5 people. If you don't drain all the blood today, I will take your surname. The first one to step forward was from the medical field. A middle-aged researcher. He was holding a thick needle in his hand, cursing. He walked to the monster's side. Start with the exposed scales. It plunged hard into the monster's artery. Everyone, please be patient. The skin under his scales seems to be very tough. It is a new type of material. It is best to peel off the whole set with the scalp attached, so as not to hurt him. The professor of materials science spoke quickly. A look of worry. The material of this ram's horn is also very special. It seems to emit some kind of radio waves from time to time. Take it off together with the skull. His hair is actually waterproof and fireproof, and it has good warmth retention properties. The thieves are strong. They are all elites drawn from various departments across the country in their respective fields. They are all outstanding. After the fear dissipates, they all aimed at various parts of the monster's body. It can be said, these monsters who have mastered extraordinary power are full of treasures. It has great research value. Of course. The main reason is the monster's desperate cry. He actually said that China must perish. It has already caused public outrage. The monster's screams and wails suddenly sounded in the laboratory. Humble humans. You did this to me. I will tear you all to pieces, he roared in pain, continuous threats, but to no avail. This can only make researchers more excited. Outside the laboratory. Dean, inside, the research has started? Zhao Ziyan swallowed and looked at Yang Mo, who walked out of the laboratory in shock. Even standing outside the door, she could also hear the screams and wails. Pain. It hurts too much. I don't know what inhuman torture the monster suffered inside. Let's start. Where is Lao Zhang? Yang Mo nodded and asked at the same time. After returning from Polytechnic University, he organized a research team and entered the laboratory immediately. Captain Zhang took his people to train. Zhao Ziyan smiled bitterly and replied, even the wounded have gone. I can't even persuade them, otherwise you go and persuade me. After the battle, nearly half of the members of the demon hunting team were injured. Many people were bruised, blurred flesh and blood, but after returning to the institute, they simply dealt with the injury and couldn't wait to go to training. This is the siege and killing tactics I compiled for the 001 Immortal. Yang Mo walked to the office and took out a plan, handed it to Zhao Ziyan, instructed, go and give it to Lao Zhang and let him train it according to this method. Ha! Zhao Ziyan's eyes widened. I thought Yang Mo would dissuade Zhang Yangguang and others, but unexpectedly Yang Mo actually came up with a training plan. This is also, isn't it too hard? Stop it, we don't have time. Yang Mo sighed softly and said in a deep voice, 8 days have passed since the first round of civilization trials. Among the monsters that descended, there must have been level 2 monsters. We must race against time to increase the combat power of the demon hunting team. Br here the words of Zhao Ziyan's heart trembled, and she suddenly thought of the top secret file, Monsters Eat People. It can be advanced, although the monster eats every person. It takes 24 hours to digest, but the stronger the strength, the shorter the digestion time, and they only need to eat 10 people. They can advance to the second level. Strength will undergo earth-shaking changes, defense, destructiveness, speed, recovery, vitality, etc. will all be more terrifying. No wonder, Zhang Yangguang and the Dean are so eager. With the current combat power of the demon hunting team, facing the second level undead, the entire army will be destroyed. Don't worry, Dean, I'll go right away. Zhao Ziyan took over the training plan and walked quickly towards the training ground. At the same time, since the monster incident at the Polytechnic University, officials in various countries are aware of the seriousness of the problem. Follow the pace of China, copy homework like crazy. China established a monster research institute, and they also established a monster research institute. China formed a demon hunting team, and they also formed a monster hunting team, even the monster code. It has also been published in different language versions and spread like wildfire in various countries. Unknowingly, the code compiled by Yang Mo has become the best-selling book in the world. Not one. In short, what China did, other countries followed suit. At the same time, under the careful attention of people from all over the world, the figure of the monster gradually emerged from the water. More and more people photographed the appearance of the monster. Goathorn face, body surface. Scales prone on all fours, cruel. Monster killings are happening more and more frequently. Invisible fear permeates the lands of all countries. The first to collapse, it's those small countries. Lack of strong execution and repressive power. The monsters are getting more and more arrogant. Even, no more hiding. He simply showed his body. Look for humans to hunt and kill to improve your own strength.